Before I begin, let me say this. What happened to me started as a quiet thought, then grew into a storm that almost took my life. I never planned to believe. I never planned to survive. And I never planned to tell this story. But here I am, breathing, remembering, and trembling as I write. This story may sound impossible, yet it is painfully human. As you read, please tell me in the comments where you are watching or reading from. Let us connect as one family and continue to pray for one another, because none of us truly walks alone. I was 47 years old when my world began to crack, though I did not notice it at first. At that time, I was known as Dr. Aaron Cole, a university professor of philosophy. My life was built on logic, facts, and reason. I taught students how to question everything. I trained young minds to pull ideas apart and examine them like broken machines. Faith, to me, was one of those machines, old, weak, and unnecessary. I did not just disbelieve in God. I fought against the idea of Him. In lecture halls filled with students, I spoke strongly about atheism. I explained how belief was born from fear. I showed charts, books, and studies. I used big words, but my heart was cold. When students raised their hands to defend faith, I smiled in a way that made them feel small. I thought I was helping them grow, but in truth I was shaping them into my own image. Outside the classroom, my reputation followed me. Some colleagues admired me, others avoided me. Religious staff members stopped greeting me in the hallways. Invitations to social gatherings slowly disappeared. I told myself I did not care. I said persecution only belonged to believers, not to men like me. I was wrong about many things. At home, the tension was worse. My sister, who had found faith years earlier, stopped visiting often. When she did, her eyes looked heavy, as if she carried sorrow just by being near me. Family meals became quiet battlegrounds. No shouting, no insults, just silence that hurt more than noise. I remember one evening clearly. The rain was falling hard against the windows. The house felt empty, even though I was not alone. I sat with my books spread across the table, reading late into the night. My wife had already gone to bed. We barely spoke those days. My choices had built walls between us. I told myself this was the cost of truth. But deep inside, something else was happening. Students began to challenge me more. Not with anger, but with calm strength. Some shared stories of hope, peace, and change. I brushed them aside, yet their faces stayed with me long after class ended. I felt watched, not by people, but by questions I could not silence. The real persecution began when rumors spread. Some students accused me of being harsh, even cruel. A few parents wrote letters to the university. They said I mocked faith and embarrassed believers in public. Meetings were called. I sat in cold offices with administrators who spoke carefully, choosing every word like stepping on broken glass. They warned me to be more sensitive. To me, that word felt like a cage. I began to feel hunted, though I still believed I was right. Online forums attacked me. Religious groups prayed against me, or so I was told. Anonymous emails filled my inbox. Some were angry, others were pleading. A few spoke of judgment and consequences. I deleted them all, pretending none of it mattered. But my sleep changed. Night after night, I woke up sweating. My chest felt tight. I dreamed of falling, of darkness closing in, of calling out without knowing to whom. I blamed stress. I blamed age. I blamed everyone but myself. One afternoon, after a long lecture, I sat alone in the empty classroom. The sunlight fell through the windows, lighting up dust in the air. I felt small for the first time in years. Not weak, just small. Like a man standing under a sky too wide to explain. That scared me. Persecution does not always come as chains or prisons. Sometimes it comes as isolation, as rejection, as the slow loss of respect, connection, and peace. I had chosen my path boldly, and now I walked it alone. Even my own thoughts turned against me. I began to feel a strange pressure, as if something unseen was pressing on my heart. Not pain, but weight. I tried to drown it with work, travel, and debate. That was how I found myself preparing for a conference overseas. A flight with Air India was booked. Another lecture. Another fight. I believed the journey would help me breathe again. I did not know that persecution was only the beginning. I did not know that my certainty was about to be shaken. And I did not know that my life was moving toward a moment that would divide it forever into before and after. That is where this chapter ends, and that is where the truth began to hunt me back. Some moments arrive quietly, yet they change everything. What I am about to share began on an ordinary day, but it followed me into the night, into fear, and into pain I never expected to face. I thought the worst part of my life was already behind me. I believed the pressure, the rejection, and the loneliness were things I could manage. I told myself I was strong. I told myself I did not need anyone, especially not God. But life does not always ask for permission before it breaks you. The persecution grew heavier after the meetings with the university leaders. I noticed how people looked at me differently. Some students stopped attending my classes. Others came only to watch me, not to learn. I could feel their eyes on me, judging, waiting for me to fail. One day, a student stayed behind after class. He looked nervous. He did not argue. He did not raise his voice. He only shared how my words had hurt him deeply, how he felt mocked for believing. He showed me tears he was trying to hide. He explained how he prayed for strength before entering my class. I walked away from him without answering. That night, the weight inside me became heavier than ever. At home, my wife avoided my eyes. I noticed how she flinched when the phone rang, worried it might be another complaint or message. Friends stopped calling. Family members spoke to me only when necessary. I was surrounded by people, yet completely alone. This is how persecution often works. It does not shout. It slowly erases you. One evening, I sat alone in the living room. The lights were off. The house was silent. Rain tapped softly on the roof. I felt tired in a way sleep could not fix. My chest felt tight, like something unseen was pressing down on me. That was when something strange happened. I did not see a figure with my eyes. I did not hear a clear voice with my ears. But I felt a presence that was calm, heavy, and gentle at the same time. It was not fear. It was not confusion. It was awareness. I became aware of myself in a way I never had before. The presence revealed to me how hard my heart had become. It showed me memories I had buried, faces of students I embarrassed, family members I pushed away, moments where pride guided my words instead of kindness. These images did not accuse me. They simply stood there, waiting. I tried to explain myself in my mind. I tried to defend my choices. But the presence showed me something deeper. It revealed how my anger was built on fear, and how my confidence was covering emptiness. I remember sitting on the floor, my back against the couch. My hands were shaking. Tears ran down my face without warning. I had not cried like that since I was a child. The presence did not force me. It did not threaten me. It showed me patience, and that confused me more than anything else. After that night, everything became harder. The persecution changed shape. At work, rumors spread faster. Some colleagues avoided sitting near me. Others spoke about me in low voices. I heard that religious groups on campus were praying for my removal. I felt surrounded, watched, and unwanted. Online, my name became a target. Articles twisted my words. Comments painted me as cruel and heartless. Strangers judged my entire life based on headlines. I tried to fight back with logic and reason, but nothing worked. The more I defended myself, the more alone I felt. Inside me, the presence remained. It did not leave. It did not fade. It stayed quietly, reminding me of things I did not want to face. It revealed peace I had never known, yet I resisted it. Accepting it felt like betrayal of everything I had built. Persecution does something dangerous. It either hardens you or humbles you. I was breaking. One afternoon, after another long meeting filled with cold words and polite threats, I walked outside the campus. The sun was bright, but I felt cold. I sat on a bench and watched students laugh, talk, and live freely. I realized how far removed I had become from simple joy. A woman passed by and smiled at me. It was a small thing, but it broke me. I lowered my head and cried again. The presence showed me something important in that moment. It revealed that belief was not weakness. It showed me that love could exist without force. It revealed that truth could be gentle and still powerful. That scared me more than anger ever did. Persecution followed me home. My wife told me she felt like she was losing me. She showed me how my obsession with being right had taken my warmth away. She revealed her fear of the future, her worry about our marriage. I had no answers. Days later, as I prepared for my upcoming trip, the pressure reached its peak. The university placed me on temporary leave. My work, my identity, my pride, all paused with one email. I packed my bags with shaking hands. That night before the flight, I could not sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. The presence returned stronger. It showed me a path I did not want to walk. It revealed surrender without humiliation, faith without blindness. I felt torn in two. I was a man known for rejecting God, now being quietly pursued by something I could not explain or defeat. Persecution had stripped me of comfort. The encounter had stripped me of certainty. As I stepped onto the plane the next day, fear and anticipation mixed inside me. I believed the journey would give me space to think. I did not know it would place me face to face with death. I did not know it would force a decision I could no longer avoid. And I did not know that the presence I resisted was already walking with me. That is where this chapter rests, between resistance and surrender, between pride and truth. Some journeys begin like any other, but end in a way that splits your life into pieces. What I faced that day was not only a fight for survival, but a battle inside my soul that no classroom ever prepared me for. The airport was loud, bright, and busy, yet I felt empty inside. I walked slowly, pulling my bag behind me, moving like someone older than my years. People rushed past me with excitement and worry on their faces. I wondered how many of them were running from something, just like I was. As I boarded the Air India flight, my hands trembled slightly. I told myself it was only stress. I found my seat and sat quietly. The engine noise grew louder. The plane began to move. I closed my eyes, not to pray, but to breathe. As the plane climbed into the sky, I felt that familiar presence again. It did not scare me. It did not pressure me. It stayed close, like someone sitting beside me without touching. It revealed calm in the middle of my fear. The flight continued normally at first. People slept, read, or stared out the window. I looked around and noticed a young boy sitting a few rows ahead, holding his mother's hand. He smiled as the clouds passed by. That simple sight stayed with me. Then everything changed. There was a sudden shake. The plane jerked hard. Overhead bags rattled. People looked up, confused. Another violent movement followed. This time fear spread fast. I felt my stomach drop. My heart began to race. The shaking became worse. I could hear screams. I could feel the plane struggling. Lights flickered. Oxygen masks dropped. People cried. Some held hands. Others froze in place. In that chaos, something inside me broke open. The presence became overwhelming, not loud, but powerful. It showed me how small I was. It revealed how fragile my pride had always been. It made me understand that intelligence could not save me now. Titles could not protect me. Arguments could not keep the plane in the air. I felt sure I was about to die. As the plane descended rapidly, fear pressed on my chest. I remembered the faces of people I hurt. I remembered my wife's tired eyes. I remembered students who felt ashamed because of me. Regret rushed in like a flood. The presence revealed mercy in that moment. It showed me that I was still seen, still known, still offered grace even when I did not deserve it. I did not hear spoken words. I did not see images. I simply understood. The impact came fast. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. The force threw me forward. Pain exploded through my body. Then everything went dark. When I came back to awareness, I was surrounded by smoke and fire. My ears rang. My body hurt everywhere. I could not move at first. The air burned my lungs. People cried for help. Some voices were close. Others were fading. I tried to move my legs. They responded weakly. Fear returned, heavier than before. I crawled through broken seats and twisted metal. My hands bled. My head spun. Every breath felt like fire. I saw people trapped, injured, calling out. I tried to help where I could, but my strength was limited. That was when persecution took a new form. Survival guilt. I wondered why I was alive while others were not moving. I felt unworthy of breath. I felt exposed and judged by my own thoughts. I remembered all the times I said faith was useless, and now I was helpless without it. Rescue teams arrived later. Hands pulled me from the wreckage. Cold air hit my face. I lay on the ground staring at the sky, coughing and crying at the same time. I survived. But survival was not the end. In the hospital, pain became my companion. Broken bones, burns, deep bruises. Machines beeped around me. Nurses moved in and out. My body healed slowly, but my mind was restless. News spread fast. People learned that I survived the crash. Messages poured in. Some were kind, others were cruel. Some said I was lucky. Others said I did not deserve to live. A few mocked me, reminding me of my past words against faith. That hurt more than my injuries. I felt exposed to the world, weak and broken. Reporters asked questions, online comments judged my survival. Some people suggested it was random, others used it as a weapon against me. I lay in that hospital bed feeling stripped of everything. The presence returned again. It revealed patience during my pain. It showed me that persecution does not stop when danger ends. Sometimes it grows stronger after survival. It revealed that choosing truth would cost me comfort, respect, and control. Doctors told me I would need time to heal. My wife sat beside my bed, holding my hand silently. Her tears fell onto the sheets. She showed me love without words. That moment changed me deeply. I realized that surviving the crash was not the miracle that mattered most. The real miracle was that my heart was still being given a chance to change. The crash destroyed the plane, the pain destroyed my pride, and the persecution prepared my heart for something I could no longer deny. As I closed my eyes that night, surrounded by machines and quiet prayers from strangers, I knew my life would never return to what it was. The question was no longer whether God existed. The question was whether I would surrender to the truth revealed to me. That answer was coming. Some truths do not arrive with noise or force. They arrive after pain has finished its work. What you are about to read is not the end of my suffering, but the beginning of a life that cost me more than I ever imagined. I woke up each morning in the hospital with the same feeling, fear mixed with peace. My body was healing slowly, but my heart was awake in a way it had never been before. Machines beeped beside me. The room smelled of medicine. Sunlight came in through a small window and rested on the white walls. That quiet space became a place of decision. The presence that had followed me before, during, and after the crash stayed with me. It revealed patience. It showed me kindness that did not depend on my past. It helped me understand that surviving was not proof of my strength, but proof of mercy. One afternoon, a hospital chaplain visited my room. He did not argue with me. He did not try to win a debate. He listened. He showed me compassion without judgment. He revealed to me that faith was not about pretending to be perfect, but about admitting weakness. That day, alone in my bed, I surrendered. I did not speak fancy words. I did not try to explain myself. In my heart, I turned away from the pride, anger, and cruelty that had shaped my life. I accepted the grace that had been shown to me again and again. Peace settled inside me, deep and steady. But peace did not protect me from persecution. When news spread that I had turned to faith, the response was harsh. Former colleagues mocked me. Some said I had lost my mind because of trauma. Others accused me of using religion to gain sympathy. Academic circles closed their doors to me. Invitations disappeared. Research partnerships ended quietly. Years of work were erased with silence. Online attacks grew louder. People shared my past words against belief and used them as weapons. They called me a traitor to reason. They questioned my intelligence. They reminded me daily of who I used to be. That pain cut deep. At the university, my position was reviewed. Meetings were held without me. Eventually, I was asked to step down. No public explanation, no farewell. Just an empty office and a box for my books. I carried that box to my car alone. Financial pressure followed quickly. Bills piled up. Savings disappeared. Friends who once admired me avoided my calls. Some family members treated me like a stranger. Others spoke to me with disappointment, unsure how to understand my change. Persecution became personal. I was laughed at in public spaces. Old students pointed and whispered. Some sent messages filled with anger. A few threatened me, saying I deserved punishment for changing sides. There were nights I cried quietly so my wife would not hear. I felt shame. I felt regret. I felt fear. But I did not feel alone. The presence remained faithful. It revealed strength in weakness. It showed me that suffering did not mean abandonment. It taught me that persecution was not proof of failure, but a sign that truth had taken root. I began to share my story carefully, not on big stages but in small rooms, in community centers, in quiet conversations. I spoke simply. I shared what I experienced without forcing anyone to believe. Some listened. Some walked away. A few cried. Every story I shared came with a cost. Some doors closed harder, others opened slowly. I learned to live with less money, less praise, and fewer friends. But I gained something greater. Peace that did not depend on approval. I thought often about believers across the world who suffer far more than I did. Those imprisoned, those beaten, those rejected by their families, those who lose everything for choosing faith. My pain helped me understand theirs, even if only a little. Persecution teaches compassion if you allow it. Today, I am no longer known as a famous professor. I am known as a witness, a man who once rejected God and now lives by grace. My past still follows me, but it no longer controls me. I walk forward with humility. If you are reading this and facing persecution, mockery, rejection, loss, or fear, please know this. You are not forgotten. Your suffering matters. Your faith is seen. I encourage Christians across the globe to pray for those who are persecuted for their faith. Pray for strength, courage, provision, and peace. Pray for those in prison, those in hiding, and those rejected by their families. Pray that love will overcome fear. And if you are reading this and feel a pull in your heart to turn away from sin and return to God, I invite you to do so now. In your heart, speak simply. Turn away from what has separated you from God. Accept the forgiveness and new life offered through Jesus. Ask for a clean heart and a new beginning. Grace is still available. Mercy is still reaching. And your story is not over. This is how my journey continues.